In the quiet town of Crestfall, a storm was brewing, one that would shake the community to its very core. It all started with an elderly woman named Eleanor, known for her gentle smile and the colorful flowers she grew in her small garden. Eleanor was disabled, relying on a walker to get around, but her spirit was as vibrant as her prize-winning roses. One sunny afternoon, a misunderstanding over a minor parking infraction escalated into a situation that no one could have foreseen. Two police officers, Officer Davis and Officer Miller, confronted Eleanor. What should have been a simple conversation turned into a heated argument. The officers, new to the force and perhaps a bit too eager to assert their authority, grew impatient. The situation spiraled out of control, and in a moment that would later be replayed on news channels across the country, the officers handled Eleanor with unnecessary force, causing her to fall. The image of the frail, elderly woman on the ground, her walker toppled beside her, was heartbreaking. Little did these officers know, Eleanor was not just any elderly resident. She was the mother of Damien the Ghost Pierce. The news of his mother's mistreatment reached Damien like a lightning strike. Damien wasn't a man you'd find in the phone book. For years he operated in the shadows, a former Special Forces operative turned private investigator who specialized in cases the official channels couldn't or wouldn't touch. He was known as the Ghost because he moved unseen, uncovered truths that were buried deep, and delivered a unique brand of justice that was both swift and inescapable. His clients were the desperate and the forgotten, and his reputation was legendary in circles that mattered. When he heard what happened to his mother, the one person in the world who anchored his often chaotic life, something inside him snapped. The Ghost, who had long since retired from his more dangerous work to live a quiet life, was about to come out of retirement. And Crestfall's police department was about to become his sole focus. He packed a single bag, his face a mask of cold fury, and headed back to the town he'd left behind years ago. His mission was simple, not revenge, but absolute, undeniable justice. He wasn't going to fight them in the streets. He was going to dismantle their world from the inside out. Damien arrived in Crestfall under the cloak of twilight, a silhouette against the setting sun. He didn't announce his arrival. Instead, he began his work the way he always did, silently and methodically. He started by gathering information. Using a network of contacts and skills honed in the world's most dangerous places, he began to dig into the lives of Officer Davis and Officer Miller. He wasn't looking for small mistakes. He was looking for patterns, for skeletons in their closets. It didn't take long to find them. Officer Davis had a history of excessive force complaints that had been mysteriously swept under the rug. Officer Miller had financial troubles, with ties to a local shady businessman who seemed to benefit every time Miller was on patrol. Damien wasn't just compiling a file, he was weaving a net. He spoke to past victims, people who were too afraid to come forward before. He found a waitress who was intimidated by Davis after she witnessed him roughing up a teenager. He located a small business owner who was being extorted for protection money in Miller's patrol area. Each story, each piece of evidence, was a thread. And Damien was patiently weaving them together into an unbreakable rope. While Damien gathered his ammunition, the police department, led by Chief Brody, was in full damage control mode. They issued a carefully worded press release stating that an internal investigation was underway and that they took all allegations of misconduct seriously. They placed Davis and Miller on paid administrative leave, hoping the story would blow over. Chief Brody, a man who prided himself on running a tight ship, saw this as a public relations nightmare. He held a press conference, projecting an image of calm and control. He assured the public that his department was transparent and that justice would be served. But behind the scenes, the chief was scrambling. He knew some of his officers bent the rules, but he had always managed to keep a lid on it. This time felt different. The media attention was intense, and a local activist group had started organizing protests. The chief instructed his internal affairs team to conduct the investigation, but he also subtly guided them to protect the department's reputation at all costs. He underestimated the storm that was coming. He saw a grieving son. He didn't see the ghost who was already inside his walls, listening to every conversation and reading every hidden file. The first domino fell not with a bang, but with a leak. An anonymous source, later revealed to be Damien, sent a package to Sarah Jenkins, an ambitious investigative reporter at the state's largest newspaper. The package contained irrefutable proof of Officer Davis's prior excessive force incidents, including witness statements and buried reports. The story exploded, making front-page news. The public outcry was deafening. The department's carefully crafted narrative of a one-time incident was shattered. As the department reeled from this first blow, the second one landed. Damien released evidence of Officer Miller's financial dealings, linking him to the local crime figure. Bank statements, surveillance photos, and recorded conversations painted a clear picture of corruption. The FBI, alerted by the same anonymous source, opened a federal investigation into the Crestfall Police Department. Chief Brody's world was crumbling. His attempts to control the situation were failing spectacularly. The internal investigation became a sham, exposed for what it was, an attempt to cover up deep-seated problems. The two officers, once arrogant and secure, were now terrified, isolated, and facing serious charges. Damien watched from the shadows, his face impassive. This was not about brute force. It was about the systematic dismantling of a corrupt system, piece by painful piece. With the department in chaos and federal investigators swarming the town, Chief Brody was backed into a corner. His career was on the line, and the pressure was immense. In a desperate move, he decided to face the source of his problems. He arranged a meeting with Damien, whom he now knew was far more than just a concerned son. They met in a quiet park, the same park where Damien's mother used to take him as a child. The chief tried to appeal to Damien, man to man. He offered a full public apology, the immediate termination of the officers, and a generous settlement for Eleanor. He hoped to stop the bleeding, to save what was left of his department and his legacy. Damien listened, his expression unreadable. When the chief was finished, Damien's response was quiet but carried the weight of steel. He told the chief it was never about the money, it was about accountability. It wasn't just about Davis and Miller. It was about the system that allowed them to flourish. He laid out his final terms: a complete, top-to-bottom reform of the department, overseen by an independent civilian board, and the chief's public resignation, admitting his failure to properly lead and police his own officers. Chief Brody was a proud man, but he was not a fool. He looked at Damien and saw a man who would not back down, who had already won. To fight further would only lead to more destruction. The next day, Chief Brody held his final press conference. He announced his resignation and publicly committed to the sweeping reforms Damien had demanded. It was a stunning capitulation, a victory for the community, and for a son who had sought justice for his mother. Officers Davis and Miller were tried and convicted, not just for the assault on Eleanor, but for their other crimes as well. The Crestfall Police Department underwent a radical transformation, becoming a model for community policing and transparency. And Eleanor? She watched the news from her new home, a small house with a large garden that Damien had bought for her. She recovered from her injuries, her spirit unbroken. She never fully understood the details of what her son had done, but she knew he had stood up for her, stood up. She was just proud of her boy. Damien, the ghost, faded back into the shadows, his work complete. The storm in Crestfall had passed, leaving behind a cleaner, more just landscape, all because a few officers made the grave mistake of underestimating a mother's son. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold with us. It is a powerful reminder that true strength isn't always about being the loudest in the room, but about having the conviction to fight for what's right. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next story. We love hearing from you, so please drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Until next time. Take care and stay vigilant.